And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities podcast. I am Jay. This is Gerald coming to you live. We have a very, very interesting story for you today. We are seeing now Vroom has imploded. Yes, the online car dealership Vroom has imploded. We're going to give you all the behind the scenes secrets of why that happened and how can you take advantage of that. You ready to do this, Gerald?
Oh, yeah. Very
Let's
interesting.
go.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
Welcome back to the Auto Authorities podcast. I am Jay. This is Gerald coming to you live. Wow, what do we have here? Vroom has imploded. And Vroom, the online dealer marketplace, has imploded. Who's going to be next? But before we get to that, let's thank our sponsors, iAutoAgent.com. That's I like integrity, autoagent.com. They have two different divisions. They have a consumer division where they'll sell your vehicle, they'll market, they'll list, they'll show your vehicle at no cost to you. You don't have to go meet strange people, and they'll do it all for you. And then they'll even help you find that vehicle in the vehicle finder program nationwide, so you don't have to. We will deal with the dealerships, and you won't have to do anything until you approve the deal. And then, of course, the commercial division, the Done For You fleet management program, where iAutoAgent acts as a strategic advisor for business owners with fleets of vehicles. They help them buy those hard-to-find fleet vehicles. They help them maintain those fleet vehicles and sell those vehicles for maximum profit, allowing the business owners to run their business. And of course, if you have an extended warranty on a vehicle and it's expiring, or you need an extended warranty, contact iAutoAgent.com. They will provide you an extended warranty at pennies on the dollar compared to what you can at a dealership and give you a much better policy. Just go to iAutoAgent.com or call 636-614-3711. And Gerald, tell us a little bit about Wrestling Spotlight.
Yeah. Just relaunched the station about a month ago, 24/7 on Local Now. It's on every TV. Just download the Local Now app. You can pull up the station. We have some of the best independent wrestling from around the country. Central States and Kansas City, Glory Pro out of St. Louis, Chicago Style out of Chicago. I know your favorite, Bruce City out of Milwaukee, and UPW from the UP, the Upper Peninsula. Just some of the promotions that are on there. Then we have breaking news, interviews, and a lot of my interviews from Wrestling with Sales and Las Vegas Wrestling Scene Confidential. And we're adding new programming every week. So it's a great source to see the stars of tomorrow today and see some names that you've seen on all sorts of other promotions. Silas Young from Ring of Honor is part of UPW. Hornswoggle was in there. So it's some really interesting stuff and a fun channel. You can see a lot of great quality independent wrestling and hear from a lot of the wrestlers that you've seen on TV for years. We have a good interview up there right now with Davey Boy Smith Jr., the British Bulldog son. He's back in Major League Wrestling. So great stuff. It's available 24/7 on Local Now, channel 2074 in the sports feed, and you can make it one of your favorites right on your TV or your phone.
Thank you. And if you're just joining us, go to the YouTube channel, go there right now, and then click the subscribe button and the notifications button, and let us know that you want to be part of the Auto Authorities family. We also are on 19 other different channels. You just go to the autoauthorities.com and you can go to those channels such as iTunes and Pandora and whatnot. And then we are also on Facebook, the Facebook group page, and LinkedIn live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. So let's get right into this, Gerald. We want to talk about Vroom, the collapse. It has imploded. Again, another prediction that was made a while ago by us. This has happened. Who's next?
Well, I think the next thing you're going to see is a lot of a push to drive things down to get cheaper. I mean, the good thing is it's January, and really outside of the years where the COVID pandemic was at its peak, nothing's changed. January is always bad for car sales. You generally get the worst weather. You're coming off the holidays. You're in a lull between the previous model year and the new model year, so new inventory is usually not terribly good. And then you add in high interest rates and a historic decline in book values on used cars. The book values dropped 6.5% from December to January. Now, if you're a company like Vroom, who doesn't really get trade-ins, you're buying everything, and you just had your inventory get sliced 6.5% on top of the 4.5% it dropped in December, you just ate an 11% loss on your assets. And the market's still saying, hey, these things need to get cheaper. We need to go down.
Mm-hmm.
We're still, even with an 11% drop, we're still 16% above historic average on used car prices. Your average used car is still clipping in at about 27,000. That's way too expensive. I mean, we know from years of doing this, used cars sell between about 15 and 21,000 because people want a $350 to a $400 payment. Hasn't changed. It
Yep.
only changed because there weren't new cars out there. There was a massive shortage, and you could sell whatever you wanted. So I think the next thing that's going to happen, the next shoe to drop, Vroom and Carvana were the people that were pushing the, hey, we'll buy anything. We'll buy your car. The picture I have up there is Vroom going and picking up somebody's Dodge Challenger.
Mm-hmm.
We'll buy your car. We'll pay for it. We'll take it. Well, a lot of dealerships signed up for that too during COVID, and they launched vehicle buying centers. That's new car dealerships, branded new car dealerships, Ford dealership, Toyota, Honda, whoever. We'll buy anything. We'll buy any car you have.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, used cars weren't dropping in value. They were going up every month.
Right.
And there was a massive shortage of vehicles. Okay, well, how do you feel now if you're I don't know, let's say you're a Kia dealership, a single point Kia dealership, and you decided, oh my God, oh, this is genius. We're going to have a vehicle buying center. We'll be the used car superstore. And you go out and you floor planned 350 random used cars, Land Rovers, Jaguars, Teslas, F-250s, Ford Mustang Mach-E's, whatever. You bought everything because that was the deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vehicle buying center. You buy everything. Just buy it. You need to buy inventory. Okay, was that genius? Or was it just right time, right place, and a trained chimpanzee could sell anything because there weren't enough cars? Now that new car inventories are back up around $2 million, well, guess what isn't selling?
New cars.
Yeah,
Used
the
cars.
used F-250, the used Land Rover, the used Jaguar, the used Mustang, the used
Yep.
Challenger. So you're going to see local dealerships that dove in on this vehicle buying center program being the master stroke, the genius plan to your eventual domination of the car market, be the thing where the bank that they have their floor plan with, because they're not successful enough to own their used cars cash, the bank comes knocking on the door and said, hey, these vehicles you have floor planned with us, man, you're about 20% out of value on it. Or if you
Mm-hmm.
bought these cars and you were sitting on them because you decided as part of the vehicle buying center idea, the tried and true, you need to sell your used cars in 90 days to stay ahead of depreciation, that was thrown out the window.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's stupid. You don't need to do that. Well, guess what? Now you have this used car that you bought and you paid over retail to get it because you were going to turn it and sell it in a week. You've had it for 180 days. Now you're like 30% out of book on it.
Yep.
And your bank that has your floor plan, the inventory loan that pays for you to have your cars,
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're going to come and say, hey, we're going to reevaluate this thing because you're about
Yep.
30% out of equity. So you need to
Mhm.
give us, let's see, you got $5 million of inventory. So just give us, 500,000, 1.5 mil, and we're good. And then we'll just adjust your inventory down so you can sell it.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. I
now,
mean,
yeah, now you cranked out 1.5 million to your bank and you still have all those pigs.
what do you think's going to happen with Carvana?
As long as they can keep their stock prices up, it doesn't matter because they don't really care. They don't make money that much anyways. That's a stock market play. And as long as they can keep their stock high, they'll be fine. They've already downsized massively. They cut so many employees out.
Oh yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
really not much to cut.
They really, really have. Yeah, it's very interesting to watch all this happen, and eventually the party's over, and you can't just keep buying cars for a large dollar amount because you will eventually you'll be paying the piper on
Yeah,
that
well, I mean,
because
with no rhyme or reason too. I mean, it's amazing in hindsight that dealerships did this and said, "Oh, yeah, this is genius." I mean, come on, what are you thinking? You're
yeah,
a you're a small market Mitsubishi dealership. What the hell are you doing buying Land Rovers, Jaguars, and F-250s, or a Chrysler dealership, or a Ford dealership in the middle of nowhere? What are you doing? At some point, it was going to drop
yeah.
because eventually the car companies aren't ran by idiots. Eventually, they were going to figure out how to crank out inventory again.
Exactly, and you knew that was going to happen, and you knew that they were going to do it way too many vehicles too. Like you knew once the chips came back that they would just produce the crap out of vehicles and just flood the dealerships, flood
Well,
them.
you know what though? I don't think that's even happening because the market's really it's split right now. It's bifurcated.
Depending on
If
which deal,
you're
yeah, depending on the
if you're a
brand,
Toyota dealership, if you're a Honda dealership, if you're a
yeah,
Hyundai dealership, Hyundai, their sales were down because they didn't have enough cars last month. If you're a Kia dealership, you're fine. If you're a Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram dealership,
right,
you're in trouble. If you're a
right,
Volkswagen dealership and you have 35 ID4s at 60,000 per, that's not good.
no.
So it's very split.
Yeah, it depends on which manufacturer you're talking about, but most of the manufacturers outside of the anomalies, the Honda and Toyota and Hyundai and Kia, they are hurting,
Well, and
and
I
they're
think the other aspect that went into this, NADA is going on as we speak. They did a survey of how many customers want to have their vehicle transaction done 100% online.
hmm,
Now, we've been following this for years, and based on what people were saying, again, ironically, during the whole COVID time, from 2019 forward, was that by now it would be 60, 70% of your sales were 100% online, done. All your transactions were going to be DocuSign. People weren't going to come into the dealership. They don't need employees, everything online. I mean, over and over, right? Every consultant you could talk to was saying that. Well,
hmm,
the reality is now only 9% of consumers say they want their vehicle transaction to be done 100% online. So the number didn't go up, the number dropped dramatically. It's down to 9, it's in single digits. So, again, maybe that was something much like the vehicle buying center, much like getting rid of the 90-day turn. It wasn't some stroke of genius, it wasn't the master plan. It was just a product of the time. And now that the time is gone and things are reverting more to normal, so are the customer sentiments.
yeah, that's a good point.
So, I mean, I think that's going to hurt all these online retailers.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's so many things we can talk about when it comes to that, but like like companies like Vroom, they weren't, and then they also were doing a lot of very unethical things too. And I'll say the same for Carvana. They're doing things they shouldn't be doing. And then when you get bad press and bad publicity, that's not going to help you either, because people don't deal with that. Now, I give people too much credit sometimes, because I still see people going to Carvana to buy vehicles, and I know what they do to those vehicles before they sell them, and they do absolutely nothing to them. That's exactly what they do. And they wait for you to complain, and maybe if you complain, they take care of it. And they have outside, people in other countries that are handling your calls from call centers to save on cost. And yeah, if you do things the wrong way, and Vroom, Vroom was actually doing more underhanded things than Carvana, which is really was crazy. But they're both doing a lot of underhanded things, and it'll catch them. It'll
Well,
bite them.
the weight of the market just caught him is what ended up happening. And you're seeing this wave and a return to normalcy that is really careening through the auto market. It's not like things aren't crashing. New car sales were up 8.8% in December. January, it depended on the brand. If you were at a brand that didn't massively spike their prices and is able to still produce cars that people can get at a reasonable payment, you're doing fine. If you're at one of the brands that massively spike their prices thinking that, oh man, hey, 0%'s here forever, everything's going to be fine, well, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the future as far as other companies that have these, these online companies, which one's going to be the next one to go, and which one's not going to survive. Because I think at the end of the day, um, these things don't work, and they're very high in overhead too. Like they're not lower overhead than a dealership. They're just not. There's a lot of logistics that go on, and it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, there's definitely going to be some seismic shifts still going through the market because
Mhm.
now I think you're on that race to normalcy. Just to show it, that here's Carvana stock right now. This is live. So this is aftermarket trading as we're looking at it. Amazingly, they're up 2.19% today, which puts them at 43.35, and you can see what they've done over the last 6 months here. Whoop. So
Mhm.
they're kind of stabilizing. They probably got a little bit of a bump from Vroom going under, honestly,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
because now they're it. They don't have as much competition. And
Mm-mm.
there's quite a few regional used car dealerships that just tapped out because they were to the point where probably the floor plan adjustments came in and they said, okay, we're done.
Right.
Because we can't do this because at some point everything's going to start getting driven down. You can't have the inflation and the prices that happened and not have a little bit of
Right.
you know a return to the mean, right? What goes up, what goes up goes down.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Gerald, do you have anything else to add before we part?
Yeah, just if you're still in the market for a used car, probably the most affordable used car you can get right now,
Yeah.
go down to your local Hertz dealership and just make an offer for one of these things. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe if you have a couple of Cardinals opening day tickets and maybe a St. Louis FC jersey and scarf, that and a couple $100, maybe they'll give you a Tesla.
Yeah, I think it's a great, great, the greatest value out there right now. Well, thanks everybody. We will see you on the next episode. Peace.